In this video, you'll learn what a subdomain is and how to create one. So without further ado, let's begin. Welcome to the Binary IQ. If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing and also hitting that notification bell so that you don't miss a video. And by the end of this video, if you like or learn something from it, please do not forget to hit that like button. So let's get into the topic at hand. First thing first, let's understand what a subdomain is. You probably clicked on this video because you wanted to create one or wanted to understand what a subdomain is. So starting off with the main question as to what a subdomain is. A subdomain, as the name suggests, is the additional part to your main domain name. For example, if my domain name is thebinaryiq.com, the binary IQ is my domain. The .com is the top level domain, as you call it. And if you add anything before that, for example, this store.thebinaryiq.com or the user.thebinaryiq.com or any name .binaryiq.com, that becomes the subdomain. So before I tell you what a subdomain is used for, you have to understand what a subdomain is not. A subdomain is not a subdirectory. For example, any website or any part of the website, for example, thebinaryiq.com/store, that would be a subdirectory stored directly under the binary IQ. Another thing which you have to understand about a subdomain is that a subdomain is a separate instance. What that means is it does not inherit any characteristics from your main domain. So if I have a domain called, for example, my own, thebinaryiq.com, that is a separate website altogether, and a store.thebinaryiq.com would be a separate and entirely different website altogether. So this itself is the pros and cons of a subdomain. If you have a complicated store, if you have a complicated student portal, you must go for a subdomain because it entirely separates your complex installation on a different website altogether, thereby reducing the load on your main website. On the reverse side of the coin, a subdomain does not influence the SEO of your main website because it being a separate website altogether. So whenever you are planning to use a subdomain, you have to understand the needs of it. So the use case of a subdomain usually comes into picture whenever, for example, you are staging a website for a client, or you may have a store which you want to keep separate from your main website, or you have a student portal, or any use case scenario you may want. If you have gone through the internet and found that you can create a free website, that is where the subdomain usually comes into picture. For example, WordPress.com, which gives you a free website, it actually gives you a subdomain of the WordPress.com. So if you go ahead creating any website on WordPress.com, you'll be getting something like demo.wordpress.com. So you don't have your unique domain name. So let's get into the process of creating one. And for that, you have to get to the cPanel of your hosting provider. So let's get inside my hosting account. I'm using InMotion Hosting. So I'll just go to the login, find where it says cPanel, and usually the backend of all the hosting providers looks similar, and this cPanel looks exactly the same in almost every good hosting provider you will use. So I'll just click on cPanel. Once I'm inside my cPanel, in my case, I can quickly find a function. So the function which I want is called a subdomain. You can also scroll down and find that. So as you can see inside the domain, it says here subdomains. So I'll just click on it, and you get inside a page where you can create a subdomain. So subdomain by default would fall under a domain. So hence there are two options to fill. The first is the subdomain itself. So I'll call my subdomain, for example, I'm creating a store inside my domain. So I'll call it store. You don't have to give the dots and anything else. In the domain, you can go and select the binary IQ. And here is a small trick, or rather a good practice I'll tell you. In the document root, instead of placing your entire directory inside the root file, you should place it inside public_html. So this way you keep your folders separate and it helps organize your websites much better on the back end. So I'll just click on create, and just like that, I have my store.thebinaryiq.com created. So let's go to the store.binaryiq.com and it doesn't work. But why is that? This is because I have just created a subdomain. I have not installed any form of website on it. So for that, what I need to do is go back to the store.binaryiq.com and install WordPress on it. So in my case, I'm using WordPress. You will be using whatever web service you use. So I'll just click on home again. I'll scroll down to where it says WordPress. Just hit on WordPress. I'll get the option of install now. I'll just click on install now. Choose the latest version. In the protocol, I'll use HTTPS. In the domain, I'll find the domain I've just created. So it is this store.thebinaryiq.com. So although it's saying a trusted SSL certificate is not found, InMotion Hosting provides you a free SSL certificate. So I've just recently created this subdomain. It takes a few minutes to get the SSL certificate going. A directory, I'll leave it blank. I'm not changing the site name. Right now, I'm not installing any of the add-ons, and I'll just hit install. So it may take a few minutes. There you have it. The software was installed successfully. Now, if we go to this page and hit refresh, you'll see something appear. So this is the sample page which the WordPress has created. Now we can go ahead and edit everything. That would come under a separate video. So this is how you create your unique subdomain to keep everything on a separate website. Again, I urge you to use it wisely because it doesn't help with the SEO. If you have any further questions regarding a subdomain or its use cases, leave a comment down below. And if you found some value out of this video, do hit that like button. Once again, if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button before going on to watching my next video. That's all from this video. I'll see you on the next one.